Chained Echoes is a recently released role-playing game out of Germany which, despite not being well known, has received much attention. It was developed by a single person, Matthias Linda, who spent 7 years working on the project after a successful Kickstarter campaign in 2019. Linda's goal wasn't to recreate the classic Japanese RPGs, but rather to capture the feeling of playing them when he was younger. The game manages to avoid common pitfalls such as poorly written characters, filler content, exaggerated character designs, grinding, and repetitive combat systems, instead offering a fresh take on the genre and showcasing the talent and dedication of its sole developer. Chained Echoes offers an exciting turn-based combat system, well-written characters, and a grounded yet epic story that deals with moral questions about war and peace. Its 16-bit aesthetic evoking nostalgic memories of classic Super Nintendo games like Final Fantasy VI and Secret of Mana. The game is set in the fantasy steampunk world of Valandis, which has a long history of magical teaching, but has been plagued by war for 156 years, with the kingdoms of Taran, Eskenia, and Gravos fighting for dominance. In the prologue, the player takes on the role of Glenn, a skyrider and mercenary hired to recapture the city of Wernshire from the Gavos on behalf of the Crown of Taran. Things go awry, however, and Glenn's armor is shot down, resulting in a devastating explosion that destroys the city and kills everyone except for him and his companion Killian. This explosion serves as the catalyst for a fragile peace in Valandis, but Glenn is unable to move past his role in the destruction of Wernshire and sets out to uncover the truth about the weapon responsible. Now, in the year 807, 1 year after the treaty was signed, a group of people with diverse backgrounds come together to prevent the potential resurgence of the war due to a conspiracy by nobles who seek to reignite hostilities. In the beginning of the game, players will shift perspectives between the main characters and learn about their backgrounds, motivations, and personalities before they eventually come together. The party members, including Terran Princess Len and her bodyguard Rob and the thief and con artist Sienna, are all well developed, and the world building is impressive. The character archetypes, such as the warrior tank and glass cannon rogue, are classic, but the characters are well written and have realistic dialogue. Chained Echoes offers a modern take on classic RPG elements, including its fast-paced gameplay. Characters move quickly through the environments, and battles flow smoothly, avoiding the slow pacing often found in older RPGs. Character progression doesn't rely on traditional experience points. Instead, players must defeat certain bosses or reach specific milestones, obtaining grimoire shards, which can be used to learn new skills and abilities or improve passive characteristics, such as increased damage against certain enemy types or resistance to certain elements. This system encourages players to carefully consider their actions and strategize from the earliest battles, as they work to master the mechanics of the game. Exploration and combat are well balanced. The party travels through a variety of landscapes, including cities, open areas, cursed temples, encountering characters to talk to, shops in which to purchase new equipment, secrets to uncover, resources to collect, and enemies to fight. Unlike many RPGs, there are no random encounters in Chained Echoes. Players can detect and observe hostiles before deciding whether to engage them, which makes every battle more significant because even routine foes aren't just quickly dispatchable enemies. The players must use strategies, identify weaknesses, and use skills carefully to win, rather than just clicking through standard attacks and defeating enemies easily. The combat system is turn-based, with a focus on using combat abilities effectively. 4 characters can participate in battle at a time, and players can switch between 2 characters in a pair if necessary. Different characters have different specialties, such as dealing damage to multiple enemies, exploiting weaknesses, or even pickpocketing opponents during their turn. As characters gain levels, they unlock additional abilities. The unique twist on the familiar combat system is called overdrive. When the party enters a battle, they need to perform a few actions in sync to build up synergy and gradually fill a bar. Once the bar is in the green zone, ability costs are reduced and all party members hit harder, which is especially useful when fighting large groups or bosses. If the party attacks too much, however, they can go into the red zone and lose all of these benefits. To stay in the green zone, players can use abilities highlighted in yellow, or even better, unleash someone's powerful ultra move. The game also features flying armor suits, adding more variety to combat. The health and magic of all party members are automatically restored after every battle, implying that players should give their all as frequently as possible. This allows for a greater variety of continuous attacking strategies that can be used more often than in other RPGs, in which resource management between battles is a constant consideration. Chained Echoes isn't an RPG that aims to be excessively challenging, but the first few hours do introduce a number of systems, such as combat and character progression, that may be overwhelming. The game doesn't include a manual or the option to revisit tutorials seen in the opening hours, so if players miss key details or become confused, they may find themselves struggling. Paying attention to the game's tutorials and mechanics is important in order to fully understand how to play. Chained Echoes has a classic Japanese RPG aesthetic that complements its retro feel and fantasy universe. The character designs are detailed and effectively convey each character's personality, while the enemy designs, especially the more formidable bosses, are imaginative. The world itself feels alive and interesting, with plenty of visually appealing locations created with limited resources. The standout aspect of the presentation, however, is the soundtrack, which features individual themes for each character and adds extra intensity to the biggest battles. The rest of the sound design is strong as well, although there's no voice acting. Chained Echoes is an ambitious and impressive turn-based RPG that, aside from a few minor issues, excels in every aspect. From its engaging and challenging battle system to its well-written cast and impressive world-building, it'll both satisfy fans of the genre and attract newcomers. The story touches on themes of responsibility, the destructive power of war, and the strength of found family. The characters in the party have distinct personalities, and the dialogue is engaging, while the world of Valandis is familiar, yet still full of surprises. While some may have preferred a higher difficulty level, the game's a roller coaster of emotions, with moments of humor and heartbreak, and consistently enjoyable throughout. It shows clearly that the game has been carefully developed and nurtured over the course of 7 years, resulting in a gaming gem that should be experienced as soon as possible.